Grab your favorite drink, whether it's a coffee, cocktail, or tea, and get ready. It's Ladies' Night on Lady Overlander Radio. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. The Lady Overlander Radio podcast is available live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also catch the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other major podcast platforms. Enjoy the show. Hey, Arla. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
How you been?
That was different. That was different.
Yeah.
This got me off. It's got me off kilter now.
StreamYard came out with some new features, so we're trying them out this week.
These changes.
We're getting fancy.
We're so bougie.
I know you don't like change.
Don't make me change. I'm old.
Hey, Faith on Instagram. Hey, Overland Alberta and Narwhal Adventure. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Good Lord.
Yes.
Already?
No.
What's going on in Florida?
An idea over there.
Talk to me about Florida. I don't want to talk about Arkansas at all.
Me?
Yeah. Talk to me how great the weather is and things.
It's lovely. It's nice and cool. Mm-hmm. The hurricane that was supposed to come went away. It's great.
Well, yeah, that's good. That's positive.
Yeah,
that's positive. I didn't see no pictures of you laying by the pool.
No, I haven't gone to the pool yet. I've been busy working and stuff. So I know. Lame.
No, you can do that later.
I know. But we're not here to talk about me at the pool. We're here to talk about Paul and Hayden and Expedition Trailers. That's why we're here tonight.
Okay. We'll talk about them.
Welcome to the show, guys. We appreciate having you here. And what's it been like since September was the last time we saw you guys, I think?
It's been a while.
At Overland of America. Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a hot minute.
Nice show. It's a good show.
Oh, it was a great show. I thought it turned out really well. So definitely want to go back. The Lazy River was a big selling point for me. So
favorite venue. Now they need to turn that temperature up in that pool. That's not a lie.
They do. They do.
I heard it was cold.
Holy mother.
It took a bit of getting used to.
It didn't stop a lot of people though. I mean, it packed. It got full pretty good. Even at night, those night parties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun.
Good, though. I thought it was a win-win for everyone.
It was freaking awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and the LOR Jeep won the little mini Jeep race. Loved that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, good time. Yep.
Absolutely.
So why don't we get into a little bit of background on you guys? Hayden, if you want to go first, and then we'll jump over to Paul, and you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the trailer making business and how you guys got together and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so kind of how the trailer stuff started for me is actually it was kind of a personal project. I was in Phoenix, Arizona at the time, and I was a full-time fabricator. So I thought, you know what, I'll make something exactly how I want instead of buying something from somebody else. Long story short, that ended up in a transition that brought me back home to Missouri. Mm-hmm. And not long after I got back here and got our boots on the ground and getting everything up and running, I had actually reached out to Paul and the team over at Expedition, and it just right off the rip, everything worked out so well with the relationship that we had, and they specialized in the exact product that I had designed, so that was a huge step in the right direction. Because the overlanding industry wasn't really a thing in the Midwest yet. So it was very comforting to have that expertise and, the skill and really be able to bring that product to market the right way. Not long after that we said, we're not doing ourselves any good unless we just partner up and we take this thing on together. So it's kind of what we did. And it's a pretty big machine at this point as far as what we've been able to accomplish, and beyond that, the things that we have, in the works behind the scenes too. So it's been really cool.
Awesome. Paul, how did you get started in all this?
Well, my story goes a little further back. It actually started in 2015, Overland Expo East. That's when it was in North Carolina, Nashville. And I knew I wanted to get into it. I just wasn't sure how or we were going to do it. And life gets in the way. It got in the way for a little bit on some other stuff, but it wasn't until 2019 that we started to put wheels into motion, and we knew what we wanted to do. Being a Florida native, born and raised here, I said, well, at that time, literally it was non-existent. Large portion of the population didn't even know what overlanding was. So we said, well, over the years, all the business stuff that we've ever done is always be try to be the first one out the gate, right? You're either the pioneer or you're late to the game, as I like to say. And we opened up the very first dealer in the Southeast in Florida, and we launched Expedition Trailers. In the process, we ended up signing up. I think it was 5 or 6 different brands. And back then, I mean, just to kind of put it into perspective, in 2015, there was a handful of guys doing like these little military style trailers, like these little bucket trailers, little cargo haulers. Then you fast forward, in 2023, there was almost 70 manufacturers building trailers. And that was probably mostly due because of COVID. And that's when it really, really blew up. And when we first started in 2019, or it wasn't until 2020 that we started trying to put some stuff together, form the company, get all the paperwork and documentation out of the way, of course, trying to find something. At that time, it was virtually impossible to try to find a space that could accommodate what we were trying to achieve. And if you did find it, it was insultingly expensive. I mean, literally the first year we found a place, I had to prepay 1 year in advance of the rent just to lock it down. That's how crazy it was. People were paying 6, 7, 8 months in advance to take a spot. And day one, and we were like, okay, that's $35,000 or $36,000 right out of the pocket, right? I was like, okay, great. We're off to a great start. And let me tell you something. From there, it was just bonkers, crazy good. From there, every trailer that we did bring in, we did sell, but we were really, really, really fortunate enough to run into one of our partners today, and Steve from Off Tracks, and in Australia. And I got wind of his was just now coming out. It went up against Patriot Campers for their version of the Camper Trailer of the Year. And he took the Compact Trailer of the Year. It won its first award. So we talked back and forth for what felt like a lifetime, but it was like 2 months or something. And then we made an agreement, and we were able to start importing the trailer. And it was funny enough, it took forever to get all the paperwork and all the stuff through NHTSA and Department of Transportation and all that craziness. And wasn't a year later that within those the next 12 months is when Hayden and I got together. We did more. We ended up partnering up with Steven and acquiring the rights and the name and all that stuff for the United States. And we actually, within a couple of months, the last couple of months of the year, because I had to actually renew that same lease that cost us a fortune. I was about to do the renewal when all of this happened. And it's been shooting off the hip ever since. Found the location that we're at today. We leased it sight unseen. Hayden is the only person that had put eyes on it at the time.
No pressure, Hayden.
Yeah, no pressure, right? And it was a project, and nearly, I don't know, how long was that, Hayden? Like 10 months or something in remodeling or something? It was forever.
I mean, I don't know if you could actually say that we're totally done yet, but
No, it's
we're
work
a
in
lot
progress.
closer than when we started. But yeah, it was every bit of 10 months to finally remodel top to bottom everything that we've done so far. So
Yeah, and it seems to me like every couple of months we're adding or building a mezzanine for more space. That we've already outgrown that space already.
Wow.
So yeah, so we brought that brand, and then we brought in of course Hayden and Backroads, and we merged the two worlds together. We're under one family umbrella now, and we added the Outback Sportsman, and then we added 3 models to that, and there's another one that we're going to be building as well, a small micro unit as well. So that's from being a dealer within 11 months. Before the first 12 months, we dropped the dealership altogether in Florida and moved everything to Missouri in 1 year.
Wow.
And went into fabrication. Yeah, so
You guys are busy.
crazy
Slinging
what it was. I mean, you say it and it's hard to believe that, it's already been 3 years or something since then, or 4 years going on, I guess close to 4 years, but it's been a ride, let me tell you. And we had to be smart. You had to kind of, this last 2 years, really, I think it's the consensus is, I can't think of a single CEO or a company that won't admit the same or tell you the same thing. I'm sure you guys have had plenty of conversations with so many people. It was tough the last couple of years. Everybody was trying to, hunker down, and the numbers aren't there, and everybody's, which I kind of like to a degree, because, the collaborations, that allowed that opened the door for that, right? We're kind of initially when we first launched, everybody was kind of like on their own and trying to find their place and their speed,
right.
And the sales were record, right? Everybody was just running in it. And now, everybody's like, what's going to happen? What's doing this? And then you see everybody started making all kinds of adjustments and stuff. And a lot of manufacturers fell down on the wayside because of it. But, and like we were just talking about, it was not until after the election that really things started like boom. It's like, what happened here? It's just it's kind of crazy, but the optimism is really encouraging. It's through the roof. Everyone's feeling it. It's a good vibe. It's a good time right now, and it's a good feeling kind of moving into the holidays and stuff, and seeing that kind of reaction. It's good.
Yeah, it was like a switch was flipped, huh?
Honestly, I think that's the best way to put it. It's like it just really turned it on. Let's see what happens. I mean, I think that, typically for a lot of states, the winter slows things down to a degree, and people kind of go into that vacation and little rec time, mentality, and it usually slows down. But it's been crazy busy for us leading up, even till tonight. Leading up to the show, I was like, I couldn't believe it. It's just. We hadn't seen that in a while, so we're pretty stoked about it. That's for sure.
That's a good problem to have, guys. For sure.
Yeah.
Right. It's a great problem to have.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, let's talk about each the current trailer options you guys have out right now. I know you're introducing more. I'm guessing next year, but let's talk about this one first. The Off Track Phoenix. Tell us about this trailer.
Yeah, that's where it all started, right there. I'll let Hayden jump in on a few parts on that one. That, to me, was the guy that really started it all for us. The others, like the Backroads and the Outback, are starting to pick up some steam and stuff and everything, but that's the one that's really been our bread and butter. Originally from Australia. Won at the awards in, what was it? It was 2020 or 2021. It won the award. And we've now, being in production here in the U.S., we're comfortably able to make modifications and changes to it, where typically it would have taken 6 months to see one little thing changed when it's being manufactured across the Pacific. So now we are very happy to announce that we're going to be doing, we've made some modifications to it. The new 2025 model has some major improvements done to it. Not that I didn't think it was possible to improve upon that trailer, but yeah, there's actually things that we can do. And we did do to simplify things a little bit. And we'll let Hayden jump in on that one and tell you that, because he's the maestro. He's the man behind all that stuff that we had that handles in the shop.
So when we kind of dove in, I mean, really, it's almost been probably every bit of 9 months when we finally put a pen to paper and said, what are we going to change up for 25? I mean, usually we're trying to do these things a year in advance because, like Paul said, if you're not going to pioneer it, then you're late to the game. So we take that sort of thing very seriously. And when it came down to kind of standing out from the rest of everybody else, I mean, we had some absolutely crazy ideas. And where we ended up coming back to was, the overall fit and finish, the creature comforts, things like that. There wasn't really anything that we could say, hey, this can be altered or improved upon, really in a way that just at that point wouldn't make sense to anybody. The trailer has everything that you can think of as far as what you would need to take with you or what needs to be, encompassed in a build. So we changed up a few things like the latch mechanisms. That was one of the fan favorites because of how well it seals the doors up. And, also address some of the different components that lead to the strength and integrity of the construction. When you see some of these other trailers that it has beat out in the past, I won't name drop anybody, but you've seen catastrophic failures with their doors and things like that, where they pick up bends just from somebody leaning on them. So we really, kind of took the reins and made sure that, the product that was already so great was even better. We beefed up some of the thicknesses on different materials and that latch mechanism I mentioned. It's a very unique system, and I won't go too in depth on that because we're still waiting on the patent work to come back on that. So when you guys see that in person, it's going to be something that kind of blows your mind. If I were to tell you how it works, you would think that doesn't make any sense at all. And so when you finally see it and feel it, it's a really, really cool feature that we've added. We've got some really nice lighting features that nobody's ever come up with before that we've kind of started to roll out.
Nice.
I know one of the favorites too is the EVA and things like that that we've done. We've also spruced that up and came out with a few different options as far as that goes, and really just streamlined everything about the trailer. So yeah, we're excited for 2025.
Awesome. Real quick over here, we've got Van City Adventure watching, MiG-03, Cottywample Overland. Hey guys, A Race Against Blindness, Turtle LC, and Mike. Thank you guys for joining us on Instagram.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, very cool.
Yes.
I got to see the off tracks when I was out with Tara. We were heading out to the
Pacific Northwest?
Teton Overland show. No, the Teton Overland show.
The
up
Teton
there.
in Utah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's an amazing trailer. Like, we thoroughly enjoyed playing with that thing and taking it around and using it. And I can't wait to see the improvements. I think that's going to be awesome. Like, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike with that particular build and modifications. I mean, not only the modifications that we've done, we simplified a couple things with the water-filled lids and stuff like that, and like Hayden mentioned, the compression bars, some of the lighting options. But we're going to be coming out with a smaller version of that. We're going to be doing a couple different setups and even a whole new concept. We can't lay all the tricks of it just yet. Sometimes you got to let people, you got to let it sit in it and fester in it a little bit before you let it all out before people start copying a bunch of stuff. Unfortunately, it happens in the industry. So,
yeah, don't tell nobody.
Yeah. So we're going to try to do our best. But I think, giving all the props to Steven in Australia, he took 3 years to build that trailer the way you saw it,
Yeah.
and hats off to him. I mean, incredible. right? I mean, first year out, it took the compact trailer of the year, taking the title from Patriot, which is, you know, an amazing feat after they had, I think it was like 6 years in a row, those guys were winning that event, you know. So
Yeah.
we're really proud of that, and we're just, you know, again, we're just trying to continue to make him proud and doing what we're doing with it and stuff. So, and then, and of course, then there's the other brands and stuff, which is, you know, the Backroads Trail Series, which is Hayden's baby from the start. There it is. And then we kind of, you know, said, because, you know, it's funny, a little backstory on the history of Hayden and I when we first started. It was the actual off tracks that we kind of, I told him, I said, you see this right here? This is the bar, right? It has to be here. It has to match that or above. And I believe this is the 3rd gen, right? The one we have there now, Hayden, right? Isn't that
Yeah. That would have been the 3rd generation. Yep.
So yeah,
This is
that
the
one.
bougie one.
Technically 4th, depending on
Huh?
how technically the 4th, but
Yeah, you're right, because we changed the chassis and we changed the kitchen, we did the layout, and then we found some really cool technology, and we did that.
Yeah.
And that picture there is the one that we did for the Race Against Blindness campaign, the fundraiser. That thing literally has everything under the sun.
Yeah, it's nice.
I've yet to see another trailer built that way. I don't think it's brutally expensive to do that trailer.
I think we saw that one at Moore, the Race Against Blindness.
That whole
Saw that
setup
one.
was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It debuted at Moore.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, that particular model debuted at Moore, which was a lot of fun. And the Race Against Blindness simultaneously. It was a twofer on that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that one is the go-to, and we've got good things coming down the pipeline. We've got some really cool cats that are going to be running with that starting the new year. Some ambassadorships and stuff that's going to be really nice to see. Some talented, great people behind it. So we're really excited to see what that's going to come. And that one again, you know, lends itself to. You know what kind of sets us apart, I think, and the parts that I kind of like to talk about us as a company as a whole, because a lot of companies don't do that, and I understand why they don't. It's not an easy thing to pull off, but any one of our trailers is 100% customizable.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people do the one build. This is how it is. This is how it goes. But literally, if you could dream it, we'll build it. And we've done a few like that one that is a custom one-off. Of course, we could repeat it if people want to build it. I mean, if that's another one in there. But, you know, we're offering stuff that the typical trailer and the typical manufacturer these days are not offering, you know. And we're proud of that. It takes a lot of extra time and stuff. We don't do anything mass production. We build them as the orders come in. You know, and we're really good. It looks like it hasn't exceeded the 90-day window, so we're kind of proud of that too, as well. So we've streamlined a lot of our processes as well. So that's good
great.
thing. Yes.
Yeah, and on a side note, I saw the other day on IG that a Race Against Blindness met their goal for funding the research, which is amazing. And you guys had a big part in that. You know, all of the different sponsors that helped Steve and his family put that together. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
really happy
I mean,
for
it was a little challenging at first, but I'll be the first one to say it, that when every single company, I knew exactly what we wanted to do for that, and we had a really good idea of what we were going to do with it. And then when this signed on, we went ballistic on it. We just took it, you know, into the stratosphere with it. But everybody, there wasn't a single person that didn't say, no, I can't do it. I mean, they all jumped in major ways. You know, we put a nice little, a wonderful collaboration of extremely talented folks got together for that. We're really proud of that.
Yeah, it was like the dream team of collab there for that. For that
and it continued. And you know what the funny thing is, that it continues till this day, which is kind of weird because a lot of the moving forward, Misty, into some of the upcoming events and stuff. You're going to see a lot of them where we kind of started it this year in 24 for a lot of the Overland Expos and some of the other events that we did, and we did a lot of collaborations with several people. And since then, more have even joined on, and now they all. You're going to see that again, and I think, and maybe even on a little bit of bigger scale. So, the footprint and booth spaces are going to grow a little bit into 25. And we'll see a lot more of these guys jumping in. The guys over at Extrusion Overland, huge props to them. They stepped up. They were a big part of the Outback Sportsman unit that we'll get into shortly. And same, the guys from Intrepid. And there was just a lot of collaborators here, a lot of people, and even some smaller stuff and outside stuff. Everybody was really a joy and to work with and stuff, and they continue to do so.
That's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, let's talk about the Sportsman, because this is, I think, my new favorite. I saw this at Overland of America, and this is awesome.
So cool. Yep.
So let's talk about this bad boy.
I'm gonna let Hayden take this one because he, like, no joke, he probably built all that by hand himself, just about. And so I'm going to let him run and take the reins on that one.
So like we were talking before the show started, we are literally probably 2 years in development on that unit. We started off with just kind of a concept, and really we're going to chase after a very niche market that nobody had ventured into yet, and realize that there was a much bigger opportunity there that simply nobody was servicing that industry. So we took the same construction of chassis as far as how robust and well built they are, and kind of dumbed it down in a few different ways to be able to make that more of a simple and more of a user-friendly product. And then just added to it. The conversations just kept rolling out about, okay, we needed to be able to serve this function, and then we needed to be able to carry this, and you need this many people to be able to go. And so what you see there is, again, a huge part to the guys over at Extrusion to be able to, take an idea that we had as far as the modularity and accessorizing that trailer, how well you can do that. That is a huge part to those guys. Again, we just match the same quality and the fit and finish of everything that we do, and kind of bridge the gap into that more sporting and outdoor industry, aside from just the overland and the off-road group.
Right.
So that model there is one of many now in that line. We have a few pre-production, some different sizes and different capabilities that you could do with that. And that one there will still allow you to do everything from dirt bikes, four-wheelers, jet skis, john boats, things like that. And we have some more models that you guys will be seeing here in 2025 that'll be able to do, multiple side-by-sides, multiple jet skis, things like that, as well as a mini version. So anybody, all the way down to like the Subaru Outback and some mountain bikes, if they want to go and play with it in camp, it's set up for anybody, whether you're even pulling it with a side-by-side. So we got some really cool stuff coming out.
That's amazing. I'm impressed.
We're really proud of that one. And that one was the first one that we know of that has the first of its kind, where the actual top rack and the rooftop tent pivots. It's hinged, and you unlatch it and it pops forward and actually raises up, allowing you to be able to get up under it and not literally knock yourself out or decapitate yourself as you're coming in. But we
don't recommend that. Yeah.
So we wanted to stay away from that. And again, we were able to come up with a concept, and then, with the help from, John and Alan and Bacchus over at Extrusion Overland, we were able to conjure up that final design that you see there, and its hinging system and on big struts and stuff. And wait till you see, there's some new stuff that's coming out that we're going to be adding on to those in there as well, that we just I'm happy to announce that we were able to do a deal with our new partners up out of Canada, a company called Vertex, and they're going to be doing a lift system, a very unique system for that as well. So that's going to be a game changer as well coming up.
That's so cool. I just love the versatility of that trailer specifically. And I like the price point. I mean, it's a sturdy thing. It's a sturdy trailer. And like you said, you can use it for all different kinds of things, which is really cool.
Regardless of the sport or the season is like how I like to call it. It's there, right? It's so modular. It's so scalable that, from season to season or sport to sport, you're able to actually, swap out the cases, swap out boxes, add or remove the kitchen if you want to, different cargo cases. You can, an assortment, an array, right, of molly panel options are available. So you can literally attach just about anything and everything on it. We work with Daniel over at Taruka as well. The beauty part about this is that you can get it as plain as you want. You can get it from just the deck. If you just want it as a toy hauler, nothing more. It's a toy hauler that's not going to fall apart, right? That's the biggest complaint, that a lot of these trailers, unfortunately, they're not really, people take the conventional lawn trailer and try to modify it a little bit and be able to get it out there. But when you're, endlessly, hour after hour after hour on a washboard road, these things rattle themselves to death, and they're just not built for that. This is, so, it's not going to kink on you, twist on you, or bind up in any way. That's what it's designed to do. Right from the Australian outback, it comes from there, right? That's where it was all designed. And we carried that over into all of the U.S. models. And now you're able to do that. And they say, well, if I want to build it up a little bit, I mean, you could do, if you really wanted to design a standard trailer with 2-foot walls all the way around, you can. Anyone can DIY it. All the parts are there. You build it up as you want, when you want, based on budget or project, whatever the build is. If you want to incorporate it and do 4-foot walls or 6-foot walls, and or just the uprights and molly panels like you see there in that design, you can. Anyone can build it up at their own pace based on their budgets. That's the beauty part. You could use, regardless of it, you can use any awnings, you can use any, because it's considered at that point a rigid mount. So you can use literally any awning. You can use any rooftop tent. If you want to take it on and off, you can. It's all bolted together. The scalability or its modularity is second to none. So that's what we really, really love about that unit. And we're actually teaming up with several groups for 25. Some stuff I'm not exactly privy to say at this point, but because we're trying to iron out some of the details on some stuff in there. But you will see into the first quarter what's coming down the pipeline with that. Several partners are getting lined up for the year to kind of really turn things up a little bit, and you're going to see all kinds of new things coming out and collaborations and stuff with that. And all the builds, actually, several of them are signing up to do the same thing with the other ones as well.
That's awesome. And you guys said before we went live, you said you're going to be doing something like 16 shows or something, a ton of shows next year.
So we've got, I think there's 16 or 18 thus far. And I know there's 3 or 4 that we haven't put down yet, because we're trying to open up into other fields. But the biggest part for us is, as is with the traditional, just the Overland Expos alone, right? That alone, there's 7 or 8 events already, for those who don't know, Hayden is engaged. He's getting married next year, and he's going to try to stay married without all these. And I'm trying to stay married myself, because as it is, I'm already out, like 10 months out of the year, So we're trying to streamline that a little bit. What does that saying go? We got to work smarter, not harder. I don't even know if that's even possible when you're owning a company.
I don't either. It's a great saying, but
we try anyway. But we're gonna try to make an attempt to have, with these collaborations and ambassadorships and programs and dealers and affiliates and stuff like that, have them carry some of that load and have them, try to represent the brand. Because when I looked at the map, it was literally today when we were going over the stuff of the map today, and there was like 4 events that are on the same month.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You can't.
Yes.
There's no way that you can do that, right? So you have to micromanage a little bit, diversify that a little bit, and let everybody take something. But we're going to try to make as many as we can. In the break, we also mentioned something, like saying, because it's a budget killer when you're trying to do some of these events, and it takes a toll, right, on everything across the board. We're hoping that the optimism carries over into, actual performance and sales and stuff into the coming months. But, we are going to be expanding the map a little bit. How many of those we're actually going to check off, we'll know more after, I think probably around the first week of December. Some of these we need to make decisions already with,
Right.
Land Expo, for instance, right? Those guys are like almost the first ones in there. Oh, no, not lie. Alyssa with the Save. We already did that one already. But then there's more. Then there's all these other events and stuff, So we need to check off a lot of boxes and stuff. And some of them are just getting more expensive. If that was even remotely, you couldn't think that was possible. But yeah, so they get longer. Some are getting shorter, but they're not changing the price. They still charge the same. They're not taking days off of the map, but off the calendar. Yet they still charge the same for it. But we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts to all of this, and but we're trying to accommodate as many as we can to get out as much as we can.
That's great. It's funny to me that some of the shows are shortening their days, because I'm sure the vendors are like, hey, that's one less day I have to try to make a sale. So frustrating.
Well, they shorten the days, but then they kind of lengthen the hours on the day.
Oh, okay.
To make up for that to a degree, right? So I see some of the reasoning behind it, because sometimes by that Sunday, let's face it, it dies down. Pretty fast.
Yeah.
We've all been there. We've all experienced it. And I think that to a degree, it kind of makes sense in some events. Not all of them are like that. But yeah, Sundays typically, it was kind of weird that our Sunday over at Overland Expo East probably ran the longest, and we stayed pretty busy. It died down there right around the noon time, and then it picked up again. You would think that it's it. Okay, that's it. It's done for the rest of the event. No, it picked up like around 1:30, and then we were, just talking up a storm literally up until close to 3:00. Like, it was just one of those things. But some events, it is. Now that they're adding, Overland Expo is adding SoCal event in California. That kind of changes the dynamic a little bit, because when you think you couldn't make it any further, now they throw California into the mix. So and that's what we're talking about with some of our partners and affiliates and stuff like that. Have them start taking some of that load, and then we can just kind of come in and provide support, and not have to bring an entire team.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I want to talk for a second about, we're going to go back to each of the trailers again, and I want to talk about what things have been done to each one to make them off-road capable, which one performs better on the trail, that kind of stuff. So let's start with Off Tracks Phoenix again.
Okay.
What have you guys done to that to make it more off-road capable for water crossings, off-camber situations, that kind of stuff?
I'll let Hayden jump in on this one. Obviously there's, our compression and our bulb seals and suspension and stuff like that, but he'll talk into more details about that.
Yeah, so we'll kind of work it from the ground up. The wheels and tires that you see on it are, a very common size when it comes to some different, anything from really an entry level off-road rig to maybe something that somebody's kind of building out while remaining in warranty. We also have those warranty guidelines that we have to kind of stay within as far as suspension and things like that. So we pair that up with Cruise Master's XT coil, and that allows for literally anything rated all the way up to rock crawling. So no matter what kind of terrain you're going to throw at it, it is ready to go out of the box. We've got the Cruise Master DO35 coupler as well, and that's got your built-in park brake. So it pairs up really, really nice for really any rig, and allows a nice, really a kind of a seamless transition from trailer to vehicle. And then whenever you look at our chassis, anybody that looks at them, even if they don't know exactly what they're looking at when it comes to, fabrication and chassis designs and things like that, immediately they're like, oh, wow, that's really, really rugged. It's honestly overbuilt because it needs to be able to handle anything and everything, all the way down to the coating. We don't do any kind of coating that is going to eventually give you issues. A lot of companies, they're doing that sort of thing because it keeps production costs lower, and the turnaround times to be able to get those chassis back are much faster in the processes that they're doing. However, the problems that you have 5 to 7 years down the road, if you make it that long, are very they're breathing down your throat whenever you start to experience those. One of those being that the chassis will rust from the inside out. So you never really know that you're having a problem until it's too late. And that also affects the, let's say that somebody's kind of going through that phase in life where, maybe they just started a family, or, for whatever reason, if anybody ever needed to, sell their trailer and kind of move on to a different phase in life, they're going to lose their butt on somebody else's trailer. Ours, I mean, Paul can vouch for it. We've got a trailer that we are doing some work to right now, and we're getting ready to sell for one of our former affiliates. And the market is, you can't find any of them out there because really nobody wants to get rid of them. But what we're able to see these trailers sell for, even 2-3 years out and being used, it's really comparable to a sale price for a brand new build, because the trailers are just so robust and built to withstand the test of time. So it really speaks to how well that they're built, and how much quality goes into what we do. It is not cheap.
Yeah.
And that's that's where a lot of companies are. They steer away from that track of having something that is built for a lifetime, because they're focused on the dollar, and that number. Whereas kind of what we do allows the customer to become more of a family member than just a number. It's not just a name and a number on a spreadsheet that we turn in at the end of the year. So there's a lot of pluses to it. Obviously, we have our drawbacks, but like Paul mentioned earlier, our production times are usually within 90 days. So it is a completely customized unit that is built for anything, and it's exactly how you want it. So it's a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, and I think it's great that it holds its value, because I know a lot of different trailers and even campers and things like that, once you drive it off the lot, it kind of depreciates pretty quickly. So that's great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think in the last 3.5 years or so, or 4 years already, God almighty, I think there's been 3 or 4 resales, and they just about, I'd say, shied. I think the worst one was probably off by like $3,000 from what they paid for it. So it holds its value. I mean, and again, it's hats off to Stephen for starting that in the first place, and kind of opening our eyes as to what it can be.
Yeah.
And we just took that and ran with it and said, hey, that's the bar. And when we first started as a dealer, we had half a dozen different models. I don't carry any of them now because of that, because I didn't want to be that warranty. I'm not in the warranty business. I know a lot of traditional RV dealers I think a third of their income comes from the shop, from calling in warranty stuff, or more in some cases. But yeah, we're not doing that. We've got enough already on our plate just fulfilling our orders and stuff. And we're really proud of that point, where we don't have to really go back and deal with warranty issues and stuff. I can recall over the last 3 years, we changed an O-ring on a hose.
That's fantastic. So
Pretty impressive.
if I was going to,
I don't see anything else really. Like everything else has been, never been a warranty call, ever.
So heaven forbid that somebody did need to put in a warranty request or something, or some kind of repair issue. What's their process? How do you guys respond to that kind of stuff?
It's simple. I mean, the beauty part about, how well built these things are, it's also it is pretty accessible. So if someone did have an issue, kind of like the individual who had that problem with the O-ring on the water line, the hardest part was to take the rear drawer out just to be able to access it. But then he was able to, cut the rubber cover off, and we sent him a new hose, and it was literally just a pair of wrenches, and he was replacing it. And I mean, we gathered that it was, if anybody can handle a pair of pliers, they could pretty much take care of this. If it was something beyond it where they actually created or had an accident and they damaged the part and we need to replace an actual part, then that would literally go over to a dealer of some kind who would do that work. And that becomes an insurance thing, like no different than if you had damage on your car and you had to get it, a fender replaced or a door, ding or pulled out or something. They would handle all that. But that's not a warranty really issue. It's just it was an accident. So, but again, any one of these places, your traditional mechanic or any of these other shops or a trailer shop can handle anything. So they could literally take it anywhere across the country. And if they need a specific part, a majority of all of the components you can get online in order, or they could call us up and we'll be able to overnight something to them. Yeah.
Yeah, that brings up a good question. So if they take it to a dealer and they're doing a replacement on something, do you require that dealer to use a specific standard of parts, or, to kind of give that continuity of your product?
100%, right? So if I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but if it ever does happen, right? Oh, we'll knock on wood, but if it ever does happen, we want them to be able to use the same exact part. So that's why in our shelves, we keep a lot of this stuff. And one of the examples that happened, it wasn't us, but we had someone who needed to replace the bearings on the hubs, right? Because they tell you do it every 10 to 12,000 miles. Mm-hmm. And that person went and got it, and they ordered it, and you can find it. There's a Dexter company does all the bearings. It's a big, well-known brand and stuff. But when you buy, why we use Cruise Master is because when you pull their bearings are from Japan. And you pull any other bearings from any other, it's from China. And bearings are okay to a degree, but the better the bearing, the better the response, or performance and longevity and all that stuff. And we had somebody who had another brand. I'm not going to talk smack about them, but they had another brand. They had to replace the bearings on it. They had to get it, and they went and found a replacement. But if they're using our Cruise Master, then we stock those bearings, and those are the original bearings from the factory, and they're from Japan. So can you buy them, off market? Yeah, I mean, you can get the Dexters as well, and I'm sure they'll do fine. But just to kind of put it into proper context, the one bearings that we had to do barely had 2,000 miles on it. And the one bearing that we had in one of our demo units, which actually went through and went to Matt and Kara, it went to Chase Gentry, it went to Josh over at Overland, Arizona. It went through several different ambassadors, and we put 70,000 miles on that before we replaced it. Because the idea was to figure out, it's because if you ask anybody in the industry, and even the guys that cruise master, they say, well, how long will it last? No one really knows. Like, how long can it last?
They don't put it through the paces enough to find the failure points, the long-term stuff.
And so we said, all right, well, moving forward, we calculated the last 3 or 4 ambassadors that had that trailer. And I said, we're going to document it and we're going to carry it out and we're going to see how long we can run it. And we actually ran it for 70,000 miles. And when we actually took them off, we realized we could have probably done far more than that.
Wow.
I mean, that were that good. I mean, it was that impressive. And that's why we use, our go-to brands. That's why we use Cruise Master. It's why we use Red Arc. It's why we use, John Guest fittings. It's why we use, the stuff that we do, like National Luna fridges and stuff, and National Luna lights and all those things. There's a method to the madness, and it's kind of simple, really. I mean, if you really gather the very best the market has to offer, and you pull it all into one package, you've reduced the odds dramatically. Like it compounds how many headaches you'll save. You know, so that's kind of like our formula. That's where we said, there's the bar, and we go, and we can find a way to get above that. We'll go, of course, but we never go from there down. And there's just no reason to, really. And when you add it all up at the end of the day, you paid a little more, but it'll be there when you need it most.
That's great. That's great. So we're going to take a moment and let you guys talk about how people can find you guys on social media and all of that. And then if you want, you can just shout out the first couple of shows for 2025 you guys are going to appear at.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Hayden, did you want to take that or?
Yeah. So in regards to shows, we're going to be kicking off the year with the Save Expo. It's one of our favorites. And then we're usually following that up with More Expo and kind of, some back and forth throughout the year. But those are the 2 hot ones to kick the year off with. And anybody that wants to learn more about us, you can reach us here at the shop at any time. The number is 573-743-3333, or just find us on the socials. Check out the website, expeditiontrailers.com. And one thing you guys are really going to want to keep an eye out for is Overlanders Outpost. It's been a name that has kind of been bounced around a little bit in the past, and we have some really, really big things that are going to be coming to light with that. And you guys do not want to miss that. It's going to be some really cool opportunities, and we're excited to roll that out. So
that's awesome. I can't wait till next year. Yay.
Yeah, that's going to be some game-changing stuff. That's for sure.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show tonight. And I hope you guys have safe and happy holidays. And likewise. Arla and I will definitely see you at Save. And you know what kind of drink I like. So
we're going to be ready. We're going to be roasting a pig.
Yes. What?
Yes.
We're doing a whole hog. Yeah, we're going to be roasting a whole
Y'all
hog.
always do it up every time. Every time.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that one. I think that's
I'm super excited now. Roast a pig.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk and see if we can get our booth near you guys.
There you go. Yeah, that would be great.
Get off here. Hey.
One of the shows right from there.
I know.
Well, thank you everyone for watching.
For having us on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Definitely. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye now.
Bye. Thank you for joining us tonight. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. The Lady Overlander Radio Podcast is available live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also catch the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other major podcast platforms.